Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to another Eternal Brews video here on EternalTitans.com. So today I got a sweet brew for you guys that I have been playing on stream a while in the past, so some of you might know it from there or from one or the other stream highlight that I uploaded with the deck, and now it's finally time to do a proper deck tech on it and share it with you guys. So let's take a look. Alright, there we go. This deck, I just called it Eilyn Ramp. It's basically a mid-rangey ramp control deck that has sort of a combo finish at the top. So the combo is basically at 9 power you play Eilyn, Queen of the Wilds, then use a snowball from Jotun Hurler, which allows us to play a 1-cost spell without actually having a spell in the deck that Eilyn can fetch, and then the only spell she can get is an Aid of the Hooru, because the other blue spells are Eilyn's Choice and Lightning Strike, which cannot be pulled by Eilyn unless there is an attacking unit. So if you do it on your turn when there's no attackers, then the only thing you can get is an Aid of the Hooru for free. So basically a free 9-cost Aid of the Hooru, which is pretty powerful. Or rather a 1-cost Aid of the Hooru, because play an 8-cost Eilyn and then a 1-cost Aid of the Hooru, basically, from a snowball that you got for free. Okay, so deck has a bunch of units. Icaria, Valkyrie Captain, great fit for the deck. Early play, ramp, card advantage, everything in one. Just everything the deck cares about, and we even have another Valkyrie that sometimes gets randomly buffed by it, so pretty sweet. Then we have Hooru Pacifier. Serves a couple of roles in the deck. It's a really good early blocker, both against early flyers as well as other early units in general. The fact that it has less than 4 attack and is multi-faction makes it, and 4 health, makes it very resilient. Doesn't die to Torch, doesn't die to Vanquish, doesn't die to Annihilate. So is immune to a lot of the commonly played removal, making it a very reliable blocker and attacker, and suppressing some of the more powerful weapons running around these days is also really nice, like Thought of Unity, Sword of Icaria, not Sword of Icaria, Sword of Sky King, Auric Runehammer, Vanquish's Blade, that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of nice cards this poses in addition, which is a great bonus. Then we have a Blue Merchant, much better than the Justice Merchant, both because the market is a lot better since it allows us to have 7 Eilyns virtually, and 8 1-cost ways to trigger Eilyn, as well as some great utility. Like the market's basically the 4th Eilyn, the 4th Permafrost as cheap removal, Unseal as a way to stop powerful cards like Channel the Tempest and that sort of stuff, then an Eilyn's Intervention, which both provides some nice utility as a conditional counterspell or conditional removal, as well as acting as a 1-cost spell that you can always play to trigger Eilyn, because it doesn't require any targets. Like even if there's no other target, you can always choose the 3rd mode and just give your non-existing Yetis plus 3 health, guaranteeing you that you can always combo. And this is the best 1-cost spell that you can play without requiring any conditional target, which makes it a great thing to have here, because you want both parts of the combo in the market. And the last slot currently is just the Wisdom of the Elders, because I wanted a proactive value merchant option when I already have both combo parts and don't need a counter or removal, basically. And I ended up using this quite a lot, because you can't play Primal Card Draw in the main deck, because then Eilyn would just give you a Wisdom of the Elders instead of an Aid of the Hooru a lot of the time, which would be really bad. But being able to play a Wisdom of the Elders in the market is great for a deck like this, because sometimes drawing some extra cards is all you need. Then we have for Valkyrie Enforcer, more solid early game blockers and utility, shutting down some annoying utility units by the opponent, and also being a Valkyrie that sometimes gets buffed by Icaria. Jotun Hurler, part of the combo. The snowball actually also can be nice utility, popping Aegis, killing small units, or just being held for the combo, or even allowing you to say get a snowball and then trading the Hurler for a market card, for example. Also, this being 2 cards in 1 is great for the merchant for that reason. And sometimes a 5 cost 4/4 is not so bad, either as a blocker against aggro or as an attacker against control. Against mid-range it's just not very great, but you can always just trade it away with a merchant, like I said. Then we have for Marshal Ironthorn, the other ramp card in the deck that allows you to get more reliably to 9 power and also get there faster, and also makes it easier to get the 3 primal. Say if you only have 1 primal, you just hold back your 2nd primal source until you play Marshal Ironthorn, and then you copy it with Marshal Ironthorn, so you get to the triple primal for Eilyn, so that's something to keep in mind. It also helps you activate the Cobalt Waystones or get multiple scouts from a Crest, which is nice in a deck like this. Then we have some removal, Permafrost and Lightning Strike, cheap, flexible early game removal that stops Teacher, because Teacher is quite the pain for a deck like this. And this is not a spell, and this is a conditional spell, so bows don't interfere with the Eilyn combo. Then we have for Eilyn's choice. These used to be Vanquishes, but with the recent rise in control decks with Channel and so on, Choice seems like a great card. There's a bunch of good things to counter: Vital Arcana, Channel the Tempest, opposing harsh rolls when you have a bunch of units in play. Just does a bunch of stuff and isn't much worse than Vanquish in most cases these days. Then we have for Privilege of Rank, basically the wisdom of the elders that this kind of deck can play. In a deck that wants a lot of power, you usually want your wisdom of the elders to draw you at least 1 power anyway, so having a card that draws you guaranteed 2 power to make sure you get to 9 power is almost as good as a wisdom of the elders a lot of the time, so this is a great card here. And for Harsh Roll, to make sure we don't get overrun by more aggressive decks like beefy mid-range decks that outsize us, or just aggressive decks. And 2/8 of the Hooru to get with Eilyn. 2 is a good number, means you have some backup in case you draw one. It's not that likely to draw both, and it also means you don't have them too often and too early where you don't want them. The maximum I could see would be 3, because the deck is reasonably good at hard casting them eventually, especially if the first one doesn't win. You can often get to the second the hard way. But yeah, there's not really room, and it's also not necessary. Like 2 felt like a good number, but the 3rd is debatable, but there should definitely not be 4 and definitely not 1. And then we have 28 power with a lot of utility in the power. Basically 8 Justice Sigils for Privilege and Valkyrie Captain. The 9s wouldn't hurt, 7 would be problematic. Then we have 4 Clan Standard, allowing us to not flood too much when we draw more power than we have use for, because even though this is a ramp deck that often wants 9 power, you also gotta get there and gotta survive, and sometimes if you draw too much power too early, that might be a problem, and Clan Standard helps there a lot, being another nice conditional removal. And Cobalt Waystone to protect our face from Rain of Frogs and discard and the Zindal's Gift and that stuff. And then the 12 duels. I could see an argument of like shaving one of these or these for another Primal Sigil to make the seats a bit better and stuff like that, but for now I'll leave it like that. Yeah, that's the deck. It's basically kind of like just kind of trying to trade profitably and prolong the game until you pull ahead with an 8 of the Hooru, and from there on you can usually win fairly easily because you just overwhelm the opponent with resources. And yeah, the deck's pretty cool, really fun to play, I think, and also surprisingly good. Like, the deck is quite competitive. It just has some glaring weaknesses which keeps it from being a real contender, but it's definitely a pretty good deck. I've done reasonably well with it on ladder. It's definitely a winning deck. Alright, as usual, before we're gonna hop into some games, make sure to follow me on social media and on Twitch to catch me live streaming if you're interested in that, and of course please subscribe to the channel down below and turn on the notifications to not miss out on future content if you haven't yet. And please consider whitelisting YouTube and Eternal Titans to support the content with advertisement. And now on to the game. See you in a moment with game number 1.